with your local system, so nothing gets lost if you by mistake close the browser. So this is this part. Then on this side, we do all sorts of stuff with our contract. So first we can compile it. Then we can search for the details about the contract. When you write the code, when you interact with the contract, you will use the ABI. So you have everything prepared here. You just click to copy. Tip. Then you can run the contract. Here you also see the errors or like some static analysis warnings. So you should fix these things. In the Run tab, you can set your environment. So if you want to just like do the quick testing of the contracts, you can use the JavaScript VM, so everything runs in the browser. But if you want, you can actually try how it works on the network. So you can connect to the browser with your MetaMask, and then just switch to injected Web3, or you can even run your own node. So if we stay now in JavaScript VM and click Create, it will actually create an instance, which means that we deployed this contract. And we also get like a transaction log inside of the terminal. So then if you click the details, you can also see the details of this transaction. Now the screen is a little bit moved, so it's hard to show. But you can like see the status of the transaction, the same as in the Etherscan, you know, if it failed or if it succeeded. And then some other details. Also everything ready to be copied. You can also record transactions. So if you want to now like prepare and click around your contract inside of JavaScript VM, and then you want to reuse it in like injected, so in injected Web3, then you can kind of save all the transactions and then reload them again. I mean, this is kind of hard to explain, but you can try it out. This is the recorder, but I think that you will show more later, right? So to interact with the contract, so we have like some functions here in the contract, and then we want to try them out. So then we can also kind of click here, and this is like a UI, basically, for our contract. So the pink ones are paid, so it will cost you gas to execute them. But these blue ones are actually free ones. So let's go down. So now I clicked here and I created another transaction. So you can also then see logs of these transactions. And you can again click details about it, or you can even debug it. So if you click here, it opens the debugger, and then you can kind of go through the transaction and see how it executed and where was the problem, or also like how much gas certain step used. So, okay, then some settings. You can even switch to the dark theme. We have this thing now, so this is like if you do the night coding, which we all do probably. Static analysis, they will explain later. Debugger is here, and here at the end, it's a support tab where we have our support chat. So if you're using Gitter, you can just like log in with your GitHub, and then you ask for support or something, or you can even open it in the new screen. And do you use Gitter? Gitter chat, yeah. So you find us here, and that's like a quick overview. So thank you, and I'll pass the.
Do you need the slide or not now?
No, I don't need. I don't need.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I will just basically make a quick demonstration of the recorder feature that was already mentioned. How do I close this? Okay. So basically what this is good for, I mean, it could be good for all kinds of things, but if I go to the Run tab, let me clear all this. So, oops. Okay, then I have now this ballot contract, which is kind of doing some voting, and I mean, it has a whole bunch of logic. But the point is, like, I can use the JavaScript VM, which is like said already, in browser only little demo, which works quite fast, and then you can just create an instance, and you use some methods, and basically you want maybe to bring your Solidity contract into a certain state. And when you have this, you can just say, in the background, the remix records all the steps that you do. So you can then just basically click save, and you can export all the transactions that happened into a JSON file. And it looks like this. So currently we're having this is our account. So if you have multiple accounts even that are taking part in this, they will all be listed here. And then here you have basically a list of transactions. Now this is just a creation, and I executed like one method. So if you do more, then there will be a lot more stuff. And it's using here accounts, like all kinds of accounts that might be participating in those transactions, and they're all listed here. And the good thing is this is kind of fast, and it doesn't cost anything, and you can record maybe a very complex setup. And then when you finish and you saved it, you can switch to, I don't think that we have MetaMask installed here, but like if you then switch maybe to a mainnet or even a testnet where even the transactions take longer, you can open, once you switch to the network, you open the JSON file, and then you can click play on the different network, and it replays all the transactions on the other network that you chose. And this can maybe be quite handy, because if it takes longer...
This doesn't contain the deployment of the smart contract.
Sorry?
It doesn't contain the contract deployment transaction, only the ones that come. Or will it also contain the
Yeah, the first one, for example, is when I click the button create, it created the first transaction, so this will also be included. So one thing that you have to do actually when you switch to the different network, you get a different address. So you have to go here and replace all the addresses, but just up there, because below it will automatically use those that you set on the top of the file. And yeah, maybe this could be quite handy. That's actually already it. The thing is, because it records everything, if you want to open a different contract and start over, you should first click this button to clear all the transactions to start again with what you will do next. Yeah, that's basically it.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Can you see everyone
Can I also import an account to the JavaScript VM version? Because, I mean, obviously, for certain cases, I want to use the same account in my injected provider as well as the JavaScript VM provider.
I don't know. No, I think
That definitely should be added.
So yeah, I think usually when you switch to another network, you get a different account. Like if you use MetaMask, then it will just use the address that MetaMask gives
Sure,
you.
but what you would do then is you would take, for example, you would generate a test account. You would have in MetaMask a test account, and you want to import the private key to the JavaScript VM as well. So like just having a feature to import accounts definitely makes sense.
Okay. So you mean that like when I have the address, I will automatically populate all the addresses here, or?
No, you actually use the same address on the injected provider as well as the VM provider. Because for certain contracts, it's important which kind of account you use, right?
Okay.
Let's say you have some hard-coded owner or so, then you need to have the same address.
I see.
So you have to have the ability to import accounts into your JavaScript VM.
Sure. Yeah, I think, do we support that yet? No, I think this would be something that we should think about. Cool, thanks.
Can you import that file once you have that?
You mean the JSON file?
Once you've saved the transactions, you want to recreate it. How do you reload the file?
Yeah, exactly. So you can, you can save it to. You have the file explorer on the side, so you can save it on the local disk or in the browser storage or wherever. Yeah. You can also just copy paste it from somewhere and open a new file. Yeah. And then when you open the JSON file, you can immediately start using it and replaying it with a button.
Okay.
So yeah,
this may be a little bit tricky from the UX perspective, because like I wouldn't be clear to me that pressing the play button now is playing that left file,
yeah, we should definitely improve on that. So it's still the Remix Alpha branch. yeah, we will work a little bit more on it. Yeah, okay, so I pass the mic.
Somewhere in the slide deck. Should I just go? So recently, well, not that recently, but I was trying to import some Zeppelin contracts and a Dharma contract into Remix, and I didn't know how to do it exactly. So I just put it down to I imported it to my computer, and then with Remix, I found with the file explorer, I found those files on my computer, and it took a lot of time, and it was kind of a pain. And then I realized I need some help. Okay. Where are we? Realized we could load. Yeah. We can load files from the console. So can you even read this? Yeah, you can load files with, I think you can't see the commands here, but it's remix :load URL, and then you put the GitHub URL in the bottom here. And as you can see on the File Explorer on the top, then the GitHub repo loads. And all the dependencies load as well. And then you can even make a batch file, like at the top where it's, you have a whole bunch of remix load URL lines at the top. And when you select that in the code editor, and you just type remix :batch, it'll load all those files. So it was a big time saver. And that was the end of my frustration as soon as I discovered that.
Thanks. Okay, so there is one other nice feature that we have added recently. And basically, you could debug transaction from Remix, but it was a bit of a pain to debug transaction from the mainnet. And now it's just possible. So I will just go through some slides. Let's say that you are in Etherscan, and you can just take a look at some transactions. Here we are seeing one Lambda contract. You have the contract source code in Etherscan too, so you can just easily copy the contract from Etherscan, and then you will just paste it in Remix. And then you go to the debugger tab, and then you can just fill in the transaction hash in debugger tab, and then you can start debugging. I mean, it's kind of easy features, but I would say that we made like 1 year, or it was quite long for us to arrive to these steps, and we are pretty proud to have it because it's kind of very important. So now you can easily debug transaction from the mainnet, and you can do that also while having source code debugging. So you can follow the execution in the Solidity source code, and you can follow the state changes, and you can follow also locals changes. So it's kind of nice. And we will also add the same for Robston, Kovan, and Rikubi. So pretty cool. There's basic features of Remix static analysis. So we have this since a few months here. And basically, as you write contract, as you compile contract, Remix will warn you about some stuff on your code that might be improved. So if you take a look at the second one, for example, it will warn you of some potential reentrancy bug if you look at gas and economy, you will see some kind of warning that can help you to save gas. So it's a bunch of modules that you can run and that will help you to have a better code. So this is very, very important, and you have to follow them. Yeah. So we have a terminal in Remix, and basically you can input Web3 object in this terminal, and you can make requests to the network. So it can be used when you develop contract, but I really think that us too, should use it when you want to maintain contract. So let's say that you have your contract live deployed, and it should be easy to just paste some script that will be executed in the terminal, that can run some tests, some check, and that can just verify if the contract is healthy. So it's something that we have still to work on it. It's not fully done. You can use it, but yeah, we have to improve it. So then you will just paste script, run any kind of JavaScript script for checking if the contract is healthy. So it's very important. Remix libraries. Yeah, so we had a repo last year, and the name of the repo was just Remix. And basically, this repo will just contain everything, every kind of helpers, every kind of libraries, every kind of debugger tools, and so on. And during DevCon 3, we had this, not protest, but we had some people were saying, yeah, Remix is nice, but then it's not so much usable for devs if they want to write tools, because you just have to clone the whole Remix repo, and it's much more better if the Remix repo can be split in several modules. So now, instead of having this big Remix library, we have several libraries. We have Remix lib, which contains some helpers. We have Remix core, which contains some like trace manager, code manager, and stuff that can help you to write your own debugger or help you to write your own tool on Ethereum. We also have Remix Solidity. Remix lib, Remix core here. Remix Solidity, which contains like the static analysis module. So now it's easily possible to use this module in other tools. And it's kind of important, and this is the point of our work here, to build modules that dev can use later on. So we have static analysis, we have state locals decoding, and then we also have some helpers to help developer to compile Solidity code. Yeah. Then Remix Debugger is just some kind of user interface that wrap everything in a single interface to debug transaction. Then we will soon have Remix Test, which will add some unit testing in Remix. Yeah, now we move away from these Remix libraries, and I will just speak a little bit about plugins API. So basically, we have some tabs in Remix, and we think that it can be interesting for the community to be able to write plugins that will be usable inside Remix. So I'm just thinking about some tools that already exist and that are used by the community, and we should just be able to integrate those tools in Remix. So there is a lot of linters in Solidity, there is a lot of fuzzy testing in Solidity, there is many tools that do many things in the ecosystem, and our goal too is to bring some of these tools in Remix, so we can have like a nice and a strong IDE. So this plugin API just add a new tab in Remix, which will be like developed by external project, external team. What will be this API? So basically, one plugin can access the compilation results to run some other static analysis warnings. One API would be able to analyze the source code of Solidity contracts to improve the linting or just to warn the users about best practices. And plugin should also be able, maybe, we will see if it will be, but I think it's nice, that a plugin should be able to listen on transaction and then should be able to run some fuzzy tests on top of transactions. And then we can have multiple tools that the community can just write. So this is the access part of a plugin, and that will be like the changing part of a plugin. So basically, I think that a plugin should just be able to maybe to change the content of the editor, to update the linting, maybe, but not to do so much. So basically, a plugin will just listen on inputs from the users, will just analyze these inputs, and will just produce some warnings and some helpers to the users. Well, so as I said, we are kind of working with the community too. We have a lot of contributors that are working with us. We are like, I think, 4, 5, kind of 7, which is nice, like fixing bugs and writing new features. In the next few months, we will be just improving the way you can debug transactions in testnet, Kovan, Rikubi, and Robsten. We have, since 2 weeks, a way to run Remix locally. Remix has been wrapped in one Electron app. This is the second line here. And some people are also working on VS Code integration for Remix. So there are 2 issues, and they are both working on different aspects of this integration. So they just want to bring a debugger capability inside VS Code. What's next? Oh, okay. So, so look at the modularizing stuff. It should be struck. It is not. It's a mistake. So this stuff is a slide from Cancun. We had to do testing, publishing, and modularizing. Testing is now in progress, thanks to Yuri Matthias. Publishing is still something that we need to improve and need to do. This is basically a way to package contracts and then to publish them. We have not already started to work on this. And modularizing, well, we kind of did that already, but we also need to improve it. So yeah, we have just one thing that is in progress and one thing that is now struck, kind of done. So I think we are just keeping going further, and things are going, I think, well. Yeah. So this is for the what's next. And then I would like to thank all of us, like Rob and Nina and Alex, for coming in Paris, and thank you very much.
Just one thing, on Saturday we have a workshop, so if anybody wants to kind of try how this works, if you're new, come and join us, but if you already have your project, we can help you solve some issues if you're having them. And if you have questions, unfortunately we don't have time, but you saw the chat, so ping us there and we're glad to help. Thank you.